Hello, Accelerated Math 6-7 students. We are now starting our 14th video, and our 14th video is called Comparison Shopping, Unit Price, and Related Measurement Conversions. And you can find that on page 34 in my comp book. Okay. So I'm turning there. Again, Comparison Shopping, Unit Price, and Related Measurement Conversions. Our goal, today we will solve problems by analyzing different unit rates given in tables, equations, and graphs. The question that I want you to be looking at or thinking about is, what is one thing that can be found in all models of the relationship? What is one thing that can be found in all models of the relationship? A unit price, to go back to our title, a unit price is the same thing as a unit rate. So remember how we've been finding the unit rate for the last couple of lessons? Well, the unit price is exactly the same thing, you're just dealing with money, okay? A unit rate is a quantity that is compared to one. Remember that per one we were talking about? That's what we're comparing it to one or per one. So we have miles per hour. If I tell you you can go 120 miles in 2 hours, how would we find the unit rate? That's right. To get from 2 to 1, you divide by 2. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So 120 divided by 2 is 60. So the unit rate for this one is 60 miles in 1 hour. If we're talking about unit price, which is what we have up in our title, we're doing money per gallon. So we can get $50 per 25 gallons. Okay, so it's $50 per 25 gallons. If we want to find out how much 1 gallon costs, how do we get from 25 to 1? You divide by 25. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. 50 divided by 25 is 2. So we know the unit price for this, I'm assuming it's gasoline, would be $2 for every 1 gallon of gas. Okay? So as you can see, the unit price is exactly the same as the unit rate. The only difference is you're using money. Okay? All right, that's kind of important because we have quite a few or a couple of these problems right here that we want to try. So it says, try these. Price per gallon. So it's telling you it's $2 for 1 gallon. Okay, let's pretend it's milk. $2 for 1 gallon. Make a ratio table and an equation. So your job right here is to make a ratio table and equation. Now remember, I didn't leave you a lot of space. So remember, a ratio table can be horizontal. It doesn't have to be vertical. We just have to be very careful in our comparisons. So in this one, we're comparing dollars per gallon. So I like to write it like that. Okay, and it says $2 for 1 gallon. So if I have 1 gallon, let's say I have 2 gallons, 3 gallons, 4 gallons, and let's say I have 5 gallons. That's probably good. Okay, so we know that 1 gallon costs $2. Well, if 1 gallon costs $2, how much does 2 gallons cost? If you said 4, you're right. How much does 3 gallons cost? 6. How much does 4 gallons cost? 8. How much does 5 gallons cost? 10. So now you have figured out how to make a ratio table. So this is the ratio table. Now your job is to make the equation. So an equation, it can be written 2 ways. Okay, the first one that you could do is you could say for every 1 gallon, right, it costs $2. So we're getting the cost equals $2 times the gallons, right? So we're going to call the gallons X. Okay, does everybody understand that? So we're going to say that the gallons are the X and the dollars are the Y. So another way we could write it, this would make it a little bit easier, is you could say Y equals $2 times any gallon. And that works because look, if I have 1 gallon, it costs $2. So 2 times 1 would be 2. Good. If I have 2 gallons, 2 times 2 is 4. Oh! If I have 3 gallons, 3 times 2 is 6. Oh! 4 gallons, 4 times 2 is 8. 5 gallons, 5 times 2 is 10. So do you see why this equation works? Okay. Now the question is, what if you are given the money, but you don't know how many gallons there are? Okay, well then we would just change our equation so that it would be you're looking for the gallons equals, how do we do that? If you're given the money, what do? You have to divide by 2, not multiply because you're going backwards. So you would divide by 2. So you would take the money divided by 2. That's one way to write it. Or you could write it like this, where you have x equals y divided by 2. And that works. So let's check. If I have 2 and I divide it by 2, I get 1. Hey, it worked. If I have 4 and I divide it by 2, I get 2. Hey, it worked. If I have 6 and I divide it by 2, I get 3. If I have 8 and I divide it by 2, I get 4. If I have 10 and I divide it by 2, I get 5. So either one of these equations, and we usually see them like this, will work. Okay? So I'm going to leave the next one for you. You're going to try to figure it out for tomorrow because this is all we have today. So this one is price per ounce, and it says that for every 75 cents, you have 1 ounce. So 75 cents for 1 ounce. I would like you to make a ratio table and an equation just like we did for the one above. Okay? So let's go back to our question. It says, what is one thing that can be found in all models of the relationship? Everything that we had in there was you had to know your x and y values on both of them. So I would say your identified amounts are in all models. Okay? All right, kiddos. I hope this is very clear to you and that you are understanding, and I will see you later.